Let's dive right into this explainer. We are looking at a tiny, hyper-militarized natural choke point that essentially acts as a single, highly fragile door to the entire global economy. It's a place where geography and geopolitics violently collide, and today we're going to unpack exactly why this specific body of water holds the modern world hostage.
Section 1. The Nightmare Scenario.
Imagine this. If this one waterway closes, a staggering 20% of the world's petroleum liquids just vanish overnight. Poof, gone. 1/5 of the entire planet's liquefied natural gas goes totally dark in an instant. This isn't some gradual slowdown. It is an immediate, catastrophic severing of a critical global artery.
But the absolutely crucial part here is the timeline. We're talking a matter of hours. Within just 48 hours of this door locking shut, the entire global financial system would go into total cardiac arrest. We aren't just talking about a bad day on the stock market, we are talking about a massive systemic shockwave that would halt global trade in panic markets worldwide.
Now, you might be picturing something like the Suez Canal, right? Like a long, tranquil ditch cut through the sand, but it's really not. This is the Strait of Hormuz. It's a perilous, rocky gap between Oman and Iran, and get this, it is barely 21 miles wide at its absolute narrowest point.
And it actually gets even tighter. While the strait itself is 21 miles wide, the actual navigable shipping lanes inside it are exceptionally narrow. We're talking just 2-mile wide tracks in either direction, with a tiny 2-mile buffer zone right in the middle. It is just mind-blowing to think that every single day, roughly 20 million barrels of oil are forced to glide through these tiny, squeezed little lanes.
Moving on to Section 2. The busiest energy artery.
So if we zoom out a bit, we can see exactly why this specific artery is so vital. The Persian Gulf houses the undisputed energy heavyweights of the world. We're talking Saudi Arabia, Iraq, the UAE, Kuwait, Qatar, and Iran. Together, this concentrated little web of nations holds nearly half of the planet's entire proven oil reserves. Half! And if they want to move that oil by ship out to the rest of the world, well, they have exactly one exit. That's the whole shebang, just one door. To put that into perspective, when you compare the daily oil flow across all the major global choke points, the sheer volume going through the Strait of Hormuz completely dwarfs the competition. I mean, it handles more daily petroleum transit than the Suez and Panama Canals combined. It's not even a contest. It is the undisputed heavyweight champion of energy transit. So who's actually waiting for all that oil? Well, this route is the absolute lifeblood of the East. Roughly 80% of the crude oil passing through here is bound for Asian manufacturing powerhouses, places like China, India, Japan, and South Korea. Take China, for example. Its massive industrial engine is so heavily dependent on this exact flow that it would literally starve within weeks without it. But you know, it's not just about the oil powering those factories. It's also about gas. Nearly 20% of the global liquefied natural gas trade, primarily coming from Qatar, passes through this exact same 21-mile gap. For nations all across Europe and Asia, this specific flow of LNG is quite literally the difference between keeping the lights on and plunging into a total blackout during the winter.
Section 3. A Nightmare to Defend.
Now, you might naturally wonder, if this place is so utterly irreplaceable, why doesn't the world's combined military just step in, park a massive fleet there, and protect it? Well, the answer really comes down to the physics of the environment. The strait is brutally difficult to defend. The waters there are incredibly shallow, averaging only 150 to 300 feet deep. Plus, it's completely littered with islands, rocks, and an insane amount of acoustic noise. All these conditions completely erase the tactical advantages of massive, multi-billion-dollar U.S. Navy carrier strike groups. They're designed for deep, open ocean combat, not for claustrophobic shallows.
And that creates a truly deadly contrast in naval tactics. On one side, you've got traditional open ocean defense that totally relies on space and distance. But on the other side, you have asymmetric warfare tactics specifically tailored for this exact geography. We're talking about smart sea mines, hidden anti-ship missile batteries tucked right into the coastal cliffs, and swarms of fast attack speedboats armed with torpedoes that can just easily overwhelm larger, slower targets.
And the crazy thing is, this isn't just theory. We know exactly how devastating a conflict here can be, because we've actually seen it. During the 1980s tanker war, over 400 commercial merchant vessels were attacked right in the Gulf. The immediate result? Shipping insurance rates absolutely skyrocketed. We're talking by 400%.
and the U.S. military was forced into taking unprecedented actions, literally reflagging and escorting foreign tankers just to keep global trade breathing.
Section 4. The Fallacy of Alternatives.
So, given these massive, glaring vulnerabilities, nations have obviously tried to build up some geographical insurance policies to get around this choke point. Saudi Arabia and the UAE invested heavily in building massive pipelines spanning hundreds of miles across the desert. The whole goal here was to bypass Hormuz entirely, right? Just pump the crude oil directly to alternate coasts, like the Red Sea and the Gulf of Oman.
But that leads us to the ultimate question. Do these geographical insurance policies actually work? Like, can these alternative routes really save the global economy if the primary choke point fails?
Well, the raw data presents a massive mathematical problem. Even if you completely max out the capacity of every single bypass pipeline in the region, they can still only handle about 3.5 to 5.5 million barrels a day. And that means nearly 15 million barrels of oil per day are left structurally locked inside the Gulf. There are no other canals, there are no magic trucks. If Hormuz closes, 15 million barrels a day simply cannot leave, period.
Section 5. A global economic shockwave.
If those 15 million daily barrels are abruptly removed from the global market, energy economists warn of a rapid, brutal domino effect. First off, crude oil prices would soar right past $150 to $200 a barrel. This instantly spikes consumer gas prices at the pump, completely crushing consumer spending. Next up, shipping companies are going to face astronomical war risk insurance premiums. And ultimately, this sudden energy starvation forces factories all over the world to ration power, leading to a total systemic failure of our already pretty fragile global supply chains.
You know, we love to talk about our fancy digital economies and our green energy transitions, but this quote really hits the nail on the head. The physical reality is that our modern civilization still runs on oil and gas. And because of that undeniable fact, our entire global economy remains precariously tethered to this single, volatile 21-mile strip of water.
It really makes you look at how truly fragile our global supply chain is, doesn't it? As long as we rely on the molecules trapped inside the Persian Gulf, this is going to remain the absolute most critical choke point on Earth. So I want to leave you with this. Are we really prepared for the day that 21-mile door slams shut?